Hello, everyone. Welcome to Free Write Friday. My name is Jessica Lynn Johnson, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the founder of Soaring Solo Studios, which is a company that's dedicated to directing, developing, producing, coaching, all things solo theater. And I work alongside Heather Dowling, who started as a client like 15 years ago or something crazy like that. It's been so long. And we developed a couple of solo shows together, and I just found her to be so incredibly talented and brought her on board to teach my technique and everything. So Heather is also an award-winning solo theater performer and director and instructor, and the other half of Soaring Solo. So if you haven't met her, she's not here today, but hopefully you'll get a chance to meet her. And we work with solo artists all over the globe. It is what we are passionate about and love to do. A little background about me specifically. I'm a solo artist myself. I toured for over 13 years with my two solo shows. My first solo show is called Oblivious to Everyone, and my second solo show is called Z. I have aided in the development and direction of over 200 solo shows and produced hundreds. Yeah, it's my passion. And I direct and teach with the LA Women's Theater Festival. I've been with them since I think 2009 in all sorts of different capacities, from a volunteer to a performer to being on the board, like all sorts of things. So if you don't know the LA Women's Theater Festival, I really encourage you to look them up. And they are taking submissions right now, actually, through the end of September. I'm also a blogger for NoHo Arts. I write a blog called Soaring Solo, which has a bunch of tips for solo artists. So that's a little bit about me. I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to say hi in the chat, say where you are tuning in from or where you're at in your solo theater journey. Maybe you're just curious and dabbling. Maybe you're already touring. Whatever you want to share. All about community in Soaring Solo and going and seeing one another's work and supporting each other's work and all of those good things. So feel free to say hi in the chat, or if you are watching this back later on YouTube, you can put it in the comments. Okay, so the mission of Free Write Friday, if you haven't been here before, is just to gather together in community and get some writing done, focusing on all sorts of things like writing structure, playwriting structure specific to solo theater, character development, prompts to get your imagination going, all those sorts of things. And today, our talking point, I'm going to do it a little differently. We're going to have part A and part B. Part A, I want you to be thinking about a location that has a significant, impactful memory associated with it. Some sort of location that has a significant, impactful location or memory associated with it. And that can be positive or negative, just something that hit your life, that changed who you are. And we're also then going to move into thinking about tech. How do we bring the tech to life, to bring this atmosphere, this environment to life? So we're going to be talking about those two things. So the first part is just thinking about this location. So examples, an ashram, a temple, a church, some sort of a spiritual home, or outdoors, forest, ocean, maybe an interior space like a house or like the room that you grew up in. Maybe where you went on your honeymoon, or a trail that you hiked, a baseball field or a basketball court, your office where you do your work, maybe a restaurant where you went on a significant date. Let's see, a road that you were driving on when you got into an accident, or a doctor's office when you got hard news, a grave site, any kind of location that holds some significance. And as you're thinking of this location and a memory associated with this location, I want you to be thinking really sensorially. So what did you see? What did you hear, touch, taste, smell? What are the sensorial elements of this location? And especially when you're thinking about sight, the things that you saw, really be taking in the environment. What is the color palette of this space that you're in? Is it really drab and dark? Is it really bright and full of rainbows? Like, what does this space look like? And also sounds, like really paying attention to what are the types of sounds that are in that environment. Can you hear rain falling? Is there music playing in the background? Is there chatter of people talking? Is it totally eerily silent? Like, what is the soundscape of the environment? So I'm just going to set the timer for, we'll do 5 minutes for this part. And so I just want you to write, and let me get the timer up here. I just want you to write about the location and, like I said, any sensorial things that come up, and the memory itself. This is supposed to be messy. This is just kind of brainstorming, so don't in any way worry about it being entertaining or making sense to anybody but you. And then I'll lead you into part B in just a moment. So let me get the timer going. Okay, so for 5 minutes, you're just going to write about the location, the memory associated with it, and any sensorial elements of this location. Okay, go for it. Okay, go ahead and wrap up your writing. In part B, or part two, whatever we want to say, I want you to, I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and this is just a wild brainstorm to write down technical ideas. If set things pop into your, set ideas or props pop into your mind too, like certainly go for it. But I specifically want you to be thinking about tech because that might not be something that you've given a lot of thought to yet in your show ideas, or maybe you have given a lot of thought to it. But when I say tech, I'm talking sound effects that might come in, or songs that might help capture the spirit of that memory in that location. Lighting ideas. You might be like, well, I'm not really a lighting designer. Then think in terms of color and think in terms of brightness. Again, if it's set in a club, maybe there'll be, it'll be dim and colorful or something. Or if it's at night, it might have, blue dim tones. Or if it's in the daytime outside, might be bright and sunny feeling, those types of things. So think about lighting design in terms of color and intensity. Um, and pictures, videos, illustrations. Is there like a background image that could help set the environment for you? Um, or a video that could be playing behind you. Or maybe there's like personal things when you think of that particular location. You're like, oh, my family and I took a bunch of pictures when we were on that trip to Mexico. And then you put up pictures from that or things like that. So I just want you to be thinking about those different technical elements. You have 3 minutes. Just let yourself brainstorm and throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall. Okay, go for it. Okay, go ahead and wrap up your writing. I'm going to give you some examples from the Soaring Solo community, just to help you see how other artists have brought location to life or made location meaningful, with their tech and also within their story to hopefully get your brains churning with ideas and things like that. So, David Paveo is a client of mine, and his show is called Poster Child: How Charlie's Angels Kicked My Ass Out of the Closet. And so David has a lot of different locations in his solo show, and a lot of my clients do. And you'll find as you write your stories, you might find that the location is shifting quite a bit. And that's where tech can be super helpful because you can have like one chair on stage and that's all you need, and everything else is handled through tech. So I digress. Let me go back to David. So in David's show, one of the significant locations is the Grand Avenue, I think it's called the Grand Avenue Disco. And this was a gay club where he basically finally came out to himself and to others, by going to this disco club, in, I think it was in the 80s. And so we wanted to bring that to life with music from that era, which we used in the scene. We used a big projection image of a disco club with people in the background dancing, and a lot of like neon LED blends of colors and things like that with the lighting. And I think at one point we did a lighting chase, which is where the lights are dancing and kind of moving to accentuate him dancing at the club. And prop wise, he had a drink that he was using, which was supposed to be a Long Island iced tea and things like that. So that's one example. And I could name many other locations in his show, but I want to get through some other examples too. And David's is one of my most tech heavy shows. So if you're in Los Angeles and you want to see some examples of how to utilize tech, he is performing this weekend at Theater 68 in North Hollywood, on Sunday at 1:45, and all the information's on my website. But that would be a good one to see tech. Another client of mine, Susan Edsel, in her show Buen Camino, is about her walking the Camino over 500 miles, and also kind of the lead up to going on that hike. And then when she's on this journey, she's going into flashbacks from all throughout her life, that the spirits are guiding her through. And so we had a lot of different locations, the literal trail that she was on, as well as flashbacks, and all these other things. So we were really, really relying on tech. And we've actually done different versions of this show where the Camino itself was personified in pre-recorded videos. So she embodied the trail as a character and did a lot of the narration as the character, which was all pre-recorded and then would play in the transitions. And then she in later adaptations got rid of the video and played the Camino live on stage. And we incorporated backgrounds of the Camino, both pictures that she took herself when she was hiking, as well as things that we found online. So it was like a blend of different things. And then with her show, sound design was really important too, because it rained a tremendous amount when she was on the trail. So we really wanted the light sound of rain, or sometimes heavy rain, behind her. And that was utilized a lot. And then also for the spiritual elements of the show, with the spirits who were guiding her, we wanted kind of ethereal sounds and kind of spooky sounds, to be part of that as well. So they weren't necessarily like grounded in reality type of soundscape. It was something that was supposed to sound a little off and a little fantastical. So there's that example. And my client Carla Delaney did a show called The Peacock and the Crab. This was in the last Starred series we did back, almost 8 months ago, something like that. And that was going between reality and fantasy. So she played the character of a peacock and a crab, who were the other two main characters in the show, who were essentially these illustrations. And she had a professional graphic artist design illustrations of these characters who would come up on the screen. It was supposed to be like a kid's fairy tale brought to life. So we had a lot of illustrations behind her throughout the show, as well as realism and pictures from actual locations, where parts of the story took place. So we were consistently changing the technical feeling from realism to fantasy, and the projections were really important for that. And then the last example I'll give, my client McKinnon Powell, in his show 6 out of 10, because his show is so focused on body image and self-worth and self-esteem and things like that. We really wanted to hone in on locations that got that topic going in his mind. So the gym, going to the gym and working out and being around other people felt like a really important location. So to bring that to life, we had the projection of the gym. We blended some yellow and white LEDs to kind of create that fluorescent gym vibe. And then we had the sound of like weights and clinking gym sounds, things like that. And then he actually brought weights and did them on stage and stuff. And that was a location. And also audition rooms. We tried to bring some audition rooms to life during the show because when you're thinking about self-esteem and self-worth, being in an audition room can also be a place where that all comes to the forefront. So with that, we just did simple projection and things like that. So I could name a million more examples. Tech is such a large component of solo theater, but I just want you to start thinking about things in those terms because it might really broaden what you're able to bring to life in your show or give you ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of. So I am just going to hop through some announcements now of things going on in the Soaring Solo community, and I'll email these to you all after we're done today, so don't feel like you have to keep up with me. But I just want to make sure you all know what's going on. So my next free class, The Art of Creating the One-Person Show, which is a 90-minute class where you actually can share things that you've written. So if anything that you share or you write in a Free Write Friday you want to share in my class, you can bring that to class. So that is happening Saturday, September 12th, 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Sign up under free stuff on my website. And in that class, I also guide you through meditation and visualization and a writing prompt. So you'll also walk away from that class with written material. If you ever wanted to work with me or with Heather, who I mentioned earlier, the best place to start is with an initial consultations for an hour on Zoom. It's discounted at $69 for an hour. You can write me about that. We also do an event called Revealed, which is a virtual reading series. So if you have a script that you'd like to workshop online and just get some feedback and see how are people responding to it, what are the blind spots, how could it be improved upon, Revealed is a really great stake to put in the ground. And we coordinate a day and a time that works for you and for us. And we co-produce that with you. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can email me as well. The next Free Write Friday is September 18th. 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Sign up the same way you did today. My YouTube channel. So if you look up Soaring Solo Studios on YouTube, I have hundreds of videos, free content, guided meditation, visualization, writing prompts. All the Free Write Fridays are on there. Also, other students and Soaring Solo community members are on there with their videos, with tips about being a solo artist. So it's just, there's a lot of free content there to help and support you on your solo journey. So check that out. I'm also a huge advocate of the festival circuit. If you're kind of not sure how to get your solo show up on its feet or how to build your resume as a solo artist, festivals are really, really wonderful for doing that. I know as someone who sits on screening panels myself that when I see that a show has been to multiple festivals and has some press quotes and has maybe some awards or nominations, that's impressive to me, and it makes me take a closer look at the submission. Not to say it has to have all those things, but it is very helpful. So some festivals to be thinking about. The Binge Fringe Festival, which is at the Santa Monica Playhouse. They usually take submissions in the summer, and then in the fall is when their series runs. So they're fully curated right now, and they're gearing up for their fall run. But they're always looking for volunteers. So if you'd like to get to know the artistic directors, Evelyn and Chris, better, I would suggest offering to volunteer at the Santa Monica Playhouse this fall and getting to know them. There's the New York City Fringe Festival, also known as the Frigid Fringe. I did the New York City Fringe like a very long time ago, and it was a wonderful festival. The Orlando Fringe is a fantastic festival. It's actually been around for 30, I want to say 34, 35 years, older than the Hollywood Fringe Festival. It's fantastic. They're doing a winter mini series right now, or they're taking submissions for their winter mini series. There's no submission fees. There's no fees to participate. If you're selected, you just split box office. At least that's my understanding of it. And they're taking submissions right now through oh gosh, when was it? I want to say like the 17th, in like a few days. It's closed. So go to the Orlando Fringe Festival website if you're interested. They do take people from all over the world to be a part of it. United Solo in New York City has a spring and a fall showcase. It's an investment. It's definitely not a cheap festival, but it is a great festival in the sense that it gives you an opportunity to perform on 42nd Street in the largest solo theater festival in the entire world and get an off-Broadway credit. So that's really awesome. The LA Women's Theater Festival I mentioned earlier is fantastic. And then Heather and I are in the midst of curating the Soaring Solo Stars series. So if you're interested in being a part of that, pop me an email because we are finalizing our lineup for the winter. That will take place in December. And then also right now is the Theater 68 Arts Complex Festival, which is taking place over at Theater 68 in North Hollywood. And it's their inaugural year. So there's a lot of Soaring Solo people participating in that as well. So yeah, the point being, get involved in the festival circuit. And the last thing I will tell you about, so Heather, my colleague, is teaching Solo Up, which is an in-person workshop where you get up on your feet. You can work on your solo show wherever you're at in the very beginning stages or further along. The next one that she's doing live in Los Angeles will be Wednesday, September 9th and September 16th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific. So again, that's the 9th and the 16th, 4 to 6. You don't have to be available for both, although we do encourage to attend both if you can, just to build that momentum. But you can also just attend one or the other. So I will email you all of this information and thank you so much. So I hope that you have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope this was of service to you and I will see you all soon. Bye.